think about trying to play a game, any game, really, Ludo, cricket, whatever. What happens if there aren't any rules?
Chaos. Just complete chaos.
Exactly. Or imagine your school, right? No rules for students, no guidelines for teachers. It just wouldn't work, would it?
You'd fall apart pretty quickly.
Well, a country, in a way, is like that massive game or that huge, bustling school. It needs rules, foundational rules. To keep order, sure, but also for fairness, to decide who's in charge, and maybe most importantly, to stop power just running wild.
And that's where the Constitution comes in. It's that foundational rule book.
Precisely. So today we're doing a deep dive using the material you shared into one specific, really significant example, the Constitution of India. Our mission really is to unpack what it is, why it was so incredibly vital for India, especially back then, and highlight some features that are, well, truly fascinating.
Yeah, and to really get why it's so significant, you have to picture the context. I mean, India is this ancient civilization, thousands of years of history, but then nearly 200 years under British rule.
Right, a long time.
A very long time. Independence finally comes in 1947. And that wasn't just, changing a flag. It was this massive shift from being colonized to becoming a self-governing republic. Since then, India's become the world's largest democracy, a major global player, built up a prodigious military force, strong infrastructure.
It's huge transformation.
Absolutely huge. And that whole journey from being ruled by another power to building this modern unified nation, it just underscores why getting the Constitution right was so utterly critical.
Okay, so sticking with that idea of rules for a country, it's not just about preventing chaos, is it? What specific, massive problems was the Indian Constitution trying to solve right from the get-go?
Oh, the challenges were immense, truly immense.
Yeah.
Post-independence India was facing, well, the fundamental challenge of nation building
It's
itself.
forging unity.
Exactly. Forging national unity and territorial integrity from this incredibly diverse subcontinent, which had been fragmented and then traumatically partitioned. You had large-scale violence, huge displacement of people.
The partition crisis.
Yes, a massive humanitarian crisis. Millions of refugees needing rehabilitation, and then the incredibly complex job of integrating over 500 princely states into India.
Wow. So the Constitution wasn't just abstract principles.
Not at all. It had several very practical purposes.
Mhm.
It had to define the basic nature of the society India wanted to be. It laid out the political system, how it would work, and crucially, how government power would be shared, distributed.
To stop it becoming, as you said, arbitrary.
Precisely.
Yeah.
To prevent arbitrary rule, to
That's
prevent
true.
tyranny. It was designed as the ultimate safeguard against the misuse of power. Absolutely essential for a new and frankly fragile democracy at that time.
Okay, that context is vital. So with that in mind, let's dive into the actual structure, the pillars of this document. It's remarkable how it seems to blend global ideas with India's own unique situation.
It really is.
So where do we start? How did it handle the sheer size and diversity? That seems like the first big hurdle. Power distribution.
Yeah, and that brings us to India's take on federalism. Now, usually federalism means power split between a central government and states, right?
Right.
India adopted something often called quasi-federal, which is interesting because it tries to balance a strong central government, which was seen as vital for unity back then, with pretty significant autonomy for the states.
How does that look on the ground?
You see it in the three tiers of government: central, state, and then unique local bodies, Panchayati Raj, and villages, municipalities, and cities. And the key thing is the states aren't just like branches of the center. They get their powers directly from the Constitution itself.
Ah, okay. So they have their own constitutional standing.
Exactly. And the idea behind this decentralization, it wasn't just about governance. It was aimed at deeper democracy, making sure development programs, especially rural ones, could be implemented more effectively, closer to the people. It was a very pragmatic approach for such a diverse place.
That makes sense. A multi-layered system. How does that connect to how leaders are actually chosen? And crucially, how are they kept accountable?
Well, that connects directly to India choosing a parliamentary form of government.
Mhm.
So, unlike a system with a powerful, directly elected president, India's model really emphasizes the government being accountable to the legislature, the people's representatives.
So the people elect.
The people directly elect their representatives to the Lok Sabha, that's
Right.
the lower house of parliament. Now, you have a president who's the head of state, but that role is largely ceremonial.
Right.
The real executive power lies with the prime minister, who is the head of government, and leads the council of ministers. And this council is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. If they lose the confidence of the Lok Sabha, they have to resign.
And there's an upper house, too.
Yes, Rajya Sabha. That represents the states, giving regions a distinct voice in national lawmaking. It's all designed for that direct line of accountability back to the voters.
It sounds like a system with lots of moving parts, lots of potential friction points, maybe. How do you ensure one part doesn't overpower the others? Where does the judiciary fit in?
Ah, yes, the separation of powers. That's fundamental. You have the three organs. The executive, which we just discussed, implements the laws. The legislature, parliament, makes the laws. And then the judiciary interprets the laws and, critically, upholds the Constitution.
So the courts are the referees.
In a way, yes. The framers were very aware that power needs checks. The independent judiciary, especially the Supreme Court and the state high courts, is absolutely vital here. They act as the ultimate guardians of the Constitution.
Oh, so.
They have the power of judicial review. They can examine laws passed by the legislature, actions taken by the executive, and if they find something violates the Constitution,
They can strike it down.
they can strike it down. It's a powerful check against the misuse of authority by either of the other branches. It provides crucial safeguards.
Okay, so the judiciary protects the Constitution, but how does the Constitution protect, well, you, the ordinary citizen? It seems like there's a specific approach there, too.
There is, and it's a really important dual approach. It's mainly through what are called fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy.
Fundamental rights. What are those exactly?
These are the bedrock, universal basic rights for all citizens, and crucially, they are enforceable or justiciable. That means if someone violates your fundamental rights, you can go directly to the Supreme Court.
Wow, directly to the top court.
Yes. Think about the right to equality. No discrimination based on gender, caste, religion, race, place of birth. Hugely important, revolutionary even, given India's history. Then you have right to freedom, right against exploitation, freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights.
A comprehensive list.
Very. And the right to constitutional remedies itself is a fundamental right, the right to go to court to protect your other rights. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who chaired the drafting committee, saw these as the very conscience of the Constitution.
Okay, so those are enforceable rights. What about the directive principles? You said it's a dual approach.
Right. The directive principles are different. They're guidelines, aspirational goals for the state. They're meant to guide the government when making laws and policies, pushing towards greater social and economic democracy, a more equitable society. But they are non-justiciable.
Meaning you can't sue the government for not implementing them immediately.
Exactly. You can't take the government to court based solely on a directive principle. It's this brilliant balance, really. You have immediate enforceable rights protecting individual liberty right now, and then these guiding principles pushing the state toward broader social justice over time, acknowledging that some goals take longer to achieve.
That is a clever structure. And one final key feature, given India's incredible religious diversity, how does the Constitution handle the relationship between the state and religion?
That leads to India's very specific model of secularism. It's not quite like the strict separation you might see in, say, France or the US. It's often called positive secularism.
Positive secularism, what does that mean?
It means the state doesn't have an official religion. It doesn't promote one religion over others. It maintains neutrality. But it goes a bit further than just separation. It implies equal respect for all religions. Sometimes the state might even support religious institutions, but it has to do so equally, without favoritism.
So neutrality, but also equal respect, maybe even equal support sometimes?
Kind of. It was seen as a necessary approach, both philosophically and pragmatically, for a country with such deep-rooted religious diversity. The goal is to ensure no single religion dominates, and all communities feel protected and respected under the law.
Right. Okay, so bringing this all together, what does this mean for you, the person listening? This isn't just some old document gathering dust, is it?
Absolutely not.
It's the living blueprint, right? It's what ensures democracy actually sustains and thrives in India. It's what gives every adult citizen the vote, universal adult franchise. That's your power, and fundamentally, it's your shield against tyranny or just the arbitrary whims of those in power.
And looking at the bigger picture, the Constitution is the source, the primary source of all laws in India. It doesn't just define the political nuts and bolts. It constantly shapes the country's values, its vision, that commitment to justice, liberty, equality, fraternity for everyone. It really is the bedrock. It empowers citizens and guides the nation.
So we've traced India's path from ancient roots through colonial rule to becoming this major modern power. And we've seen how this constitution, born out of huge challenges, became its anchor, its guiding framework.
It's quite a story.
It really is.
And maybe something to think about for you listening.
Right.
When you consider just how incredibly diverse India was, the scale of the problems the Constituent Assembly tackled back then, and the fact they created this robust, pretty adaptable framework that has endured, well, how might that foundational strength, that constitutional bedrock, influence India's capacity to deal with the complex global challenges that lie ahead, especially as it keeps developing and carving out its place on the world stage? Something to ponder, perhaps?